tomorrow. Starting off right in the morning here, we have SLU in Michigan. Michigan is currently laying 12.5. This did drop from 13.5 on the open. Just kind of want to look at the splits a little bit. So, looks like there's some sharp money coming in on St. Louis. I am kind of curious to see how Robbie Avila, a.k.a. Milk Chamberlain, Salt Frazier, whatever you want to call him, is he able to handle a Damara and the bigs that Michigan can present itself? Now, I do really like the guards that St. Louis has, and if you're a listener to the show, you probably know and have a pretty good idea how I feel about how I feel about Elliot Cadeau and the guards that Michigan presents itself. I just never been a giant fan of Elliot Cadeau's game. I don't love hardly anything that he does, and I'm not a giant fan of the team. I wouldn't say I'm like a hater on Michigan by any means. I do have a ticket on to win a national championship. I do think they can win a national championship. I just think it's really hard when your point guard's Elliot Cadeau. Now, path got a little easier today. If you can get by SLU, obviously Joshua Jefferson, we'll keep an eye on that injury, but it doesn't look good. I do not expect him to play in the tournament if they make it to the Elite Eight or whoever is there. And Iowa State could be vulnerable. Kentucky on Sunday too, without having Josh Jefferson. So need a little sparkling water here. This blackberry cucumber shit's fucking delicious. The LaCroix mix or whatever you want to call it. As far as this goes though, sitting at 12.5. I gotta do it, man. I'm gonna bet on SLU. I do think Josh Schertz has just a special group, and I'm surprised to actually see the number as high as it is. I thought it would get bet down after Michigan kind of looked defense looked a little shaky against Howard in the first half, and then obviously they opened it up late. And then SLU just looked absolutely incredible. I thought the public would be all over it. No, people are still buying into Michigan, which is understandably so. But I do think that Robbie Avila, as long as he can hold up on the defensive end, I think he can stretch out a Damara, open up a lot of space there for his teammates, the guards. And I think Josh Schertz has a good game plan going into this one. So, turn that down. Moneyline is sitting at plus 600. I don't know about that. I foresee Michigan winning the game, but I do think it's a little too many points for me, so I'm going to lock up SLU. I'm going to lock up every game because it's the NCAA tournament. I'm going to bet every game. Louisville is getting 4.5 points against Michigan State. Louisville looked really good against USF, but USF also couldn't hit the broadside of a barn earlier in the game. The status of Mikel Brown, I think, is still up in the air. I'm assuming if they left him out the first game, he is probably fine for this one. It looks like it's still up in the air. I think the number probably tells you he's going to play because it seems pretty low. I thought USF was going to pick Louisville off in the second round. That score is not really indicated of the game, actually, because USF kind of controlled the game start to finish. USF just came back at the very end there and made it a little bit closer. But this number sitting at 4.5, it's still January, February Izzo. I'm going to trust Tom Izzo here to get it done. I think Sparty's going to win this game by at least 3 possessions. This could be a double-digit one at the end of the day. This one, I don't like a ton of favorites. I do not believe, but not this one. This one, I like Sparty. But I don't like Sparty. TCU is getting 11.5 against the Duke Blue Devils. A little scary there at first, wasn't it, Mr. John Shire? Siena gave Duke basically everything they can have to handle. Jerry McNamara, what a job he has done Syracuse, if you're there, just call him. Just give him the job. He was a good coach before that. He's obviously a grad. It's his alma mater. If Josh Schertz doesn't take your job, doesn't look like a lot of people like it. So I will say, again, this is very similar to this Michigan one. I thought the public would be on this one too, but it is still Duke. So Duke's going to get that Duke money, regardless of their team that makes the tournament or not. Like, I remember that 2021 team maybe. They were still always very public, and the numbers were skewed just for Duke, just regardless, even though they didn't even make the tournament that year. You can get 12s out there for TCU too. Another one very similar to SLU. I'm going to take Jamie Dixon and the Horned Frogs. I trust him. He's a good tournament coach. He's almost picked off Arizona when he was in the same spot as an 8 or 9 seed a couple years ago. I don't know if he's picking Duke off again but I mean, they do have the. I think Duke's gonna win the game. I don't know if Punch is. I mean, Punch is probably the perfect guy to be put on Boozer. He's a thick body. He's a strong physical wing. I think Duke is vulnerable as they've been as of late, and I've been very public about that. They still find ways to pull out games, and there is something to that. So I'm going to lock up the Horned Frogs plus 11.5. But another one I think I'm going to stay with is Punch. We'll say FanDuel is doing the get up 10 thing, so maybe this is a candidate for it, but probably not going to be my one. That one's probably going to be a little bit later in the show. Next game we got VCU is. I think I missed a game. I did miss a game in here. We will get to it. Might be in the slideshow. I don't remember. VCU is getting 11.5 versus Illinois. Back and forth on this one the entire time because Illinois has the capability of blowing about everybody out. We all know that. They also do not play defense. I don't care what the numbers say. They're not whatever defense they're ranked because I watch all the games and I can tell you right now they couldn't defend me at the rec. Couldn't defend me at the local YMCA. Not a fucking shot. VCU was very lucky to get out on that comeback to beat North Carolina. I mean, it was a hell of a comeback, obviously. They got some points from off the bench. I think the kid went for like 34. Underwood struggled in these spots in the round of 32 against an inferior opponent. But, man, when Illinois' offense is cooking, they can drop 95 on you real quick. And that's what I'm afraid of here. So, reluctantly, I'm still going to take the points with the Rams, plus 11.5, which is scary because I'm 3-1 right now with the Dogs. And Favors were so dominant today. But I'm going to trust Phil Martelli Jr., the Rams, to keep it within this number. Now, this one easily could be where I see the money line headed. Outcomes that Illinois kind of presents itself with the lack of defense on. I can see the scenario where VCU wins, but I can also see them losing by 50 is the only other problem there. The games are out of order, but we're just going to fucking roll with it. Vanderbilt's landed 1.5 against Nebraska. Nebraska was knocking down every shot in that Troy game, and Troy just looked fucking terrible. Troy looks so bad. Make it. And that was one of my big dogs. I understand that. Now, I criticize Nebraska a lot for the lack of athleticism on their team, but I will say this, I believe, would be the perfect power candidate for them to play in the second round because Vanderbilt's not just, they're not crazy athletes. Tyler Tanner's a hell of a basketball player. So is Duke Miles, but they're not freak athletes. So I do think Nebraska's defense can stand with them. Games in Oklahoma City, it was a crazy Nebraska crowd. They just picked up their first NCAA tournament win, and I'm going to go with them to get their second. Give me Big Red and the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Get it out. Next, we have High Point is getting 11.5 against the Razorbacks. High Point pulled the craziness out of their ass against who the fuck they play? Wisconsin, where they just kind of came back there. The kid that doesn't shoot any of the threes got hot at the very end and was able to prevail them. So let's get back to this one. Sorry, real quick. Let's get back to there. We go. Yeah, that was an awesome game. It was an awesome cash on the money line for me with High Point. Now we're going against a Razorback team that's playing the best basketball they've played the entire season. The thing about this game more than anything is Arkansas is so goddamn athletic. They are just insane athletes. They can run up and down the court, and that's what I'm afraid that High Point is going to try to do. Both these teams do play at a relatively fast pace. Arkansas is 20th in the country. High Point is 24th. And if you want to try to run with Arkansas, I just don't really know if that's going to work. And Arkansas is 34th in the country when it comes to height. They play a lot of their big men are super, super tall, super athletic. High Point's 329th. I worry about them on the glass against the Razorbacks. I mean, if they can shoot 100 threes and just be completely on fire, maybe they have a chance in this one. I think Arkansas is the right side. The 11.5 is probably the move. As shitty as it is, I'm not. It'll probably be a little bit on the Arkansas 11.5, but I might sprinkle a little bit of that High Point money. It pains me because I really want to see High Point beat them, but I just don't think I can get there. All right, here's the other two. They are out of order, but Texas A&M is getting 10.5 against Houston. Easy fucking fun. Give me the Houston Cougars minus 10.5. I've already bet this at 15.5 as well. Plus 290. I mean, Texas A&M again is one strong. I just got done playing a St. Mary's team with 0 athletes, 0 athleticism. Frankly, not a lot of skill. Another early exit for Randy Bennett in the Gales. But this is just a complete another team that is just tough. Unlike St. Mary's is, they're physical. I think the physicality is going to wear out the Aggies, and I think Houston just wins this one running away. So give me the Cougars, minus 10.5, and I've already bet this at 15.5 as well. I think this is a shit kick, and Houston wins this game by 20. And then the last one on the docket here, Texas is getting 6.5 versus Gonzaga. I hate to say it, but I have the horns down up here. Texas probably is the move, plus 6.5. They're just shooting insane right now. Trevon Marks hitting everything. Jordan Pope's hitting everything. The Weaver kid is playing out of his mind. The big white kid they have, just who dominated BYU. I think he's going to have a lot harder time now with Graham Ike there, but Gonzaga's just... I like Gonzaga. Don't get me wrong. But 6.5, that's a lot of it because the computers are still just so in love with Mark Few's team, and I'm not there. I'm not there with them. So I'm going to take the Longhorns plus 6.5. I have to bet it, but I can see them winning this game too. This is more of a shade at Gonzaga. Playing in that early game really helps, so the points with the Longhorns is probably games for Saturday. I'll be back tomorrow night with the Sunday picks, and again, I'm going to be on VSiN tomorrow, 9:15 Eastern, so please, if you get a chance, check it out.